All right, welcome back, everybody. This week is farm safety, feedlot safety, all of the above. I
dressed up for it.
I don't know why he's wearing that. That's not
because this is what they all look like.
That's not what anyone wears. But,
okay, great.
But you look nice. It's great.
Thank you.
I think you just wanted to wear your new outfit.
I did.
So.
All right, welcome back.
Welcome back to I don't know what this is.
We go to hog farms. People don't know. And
don't wear that. I can tell you that.
What about feedlots?
We're also doing an episode, or not an episode, but we're going to do a compilation of things I wish I knew. And this is one of those things that I wish I knew. Or going into safety is I wish I knew I was going to have to shower in, shower out, and wear other people's
and not
clothes.
dress like this. I was thinking, I'm doing a farm today. I'm going to look good.
Yeah. I don't think you ever thought that. No one's ever worn that on a ranch, but I didn't know I was going to have to wear.
Well, there's television shows about it. That's why I thought.
They don't. So. Yeah, they don't wear that either.
All right.
All other people's clothing. I didn't know.
So the first,
it doesn't look like that.
So the first one is farm safety is industrial hygiene, training, cleaning, and any of the stuff you got to do the first 20 feet in there. So that's things people don't think about.
Yeah. So for biosecurity is the word.
Well,
there's a certain set of things that have to happen before people and items walk in.
And as you do that, people aren't thinking about, because of the timing of the biosecurity, how hard it is to do normal tasks.
Yeah.
So from a safety manager standpoint, it's not just, oh, go get a tool or, oh, do this task. No. There could be 15 other steps you have to do a part of it.
Yeah. Including can the stuff we use to clean whatever item we're bringing in, that going to adversely affect the item?
That's correct.
Mean, some stuff leaves a residue. So we've got to clean stuff. We kind of put them in a fogging chamber at some locations.
Sure.
And is it going to make everything sticky? How is it PPE? Is that going to make it weird? Do we have to wash it off again when it gets on the other side? What are we doing with it? Yeah.
That's correct. One of the things we looked at is that you'll do normal tasks. So maybe I'm going to do hot work today. Well, hot work in a farm different than hot work everywhere else because it's the amount of people you have, the knowledge you have. You can't on the permit.
Farm manager's the one signing the permit.
Right. You can't on the permit close all holes, and cover all hole openings. Really, there's thousands of them.
Yeah.
So that you got to look at the process a little bit when it comes to the farm safety side.
Yeah. I mean,
it's not just hot work.
Yeah. So are you you've got to do some different steps. Are you putting down blankets? What are we doing? Because again, there's slats in the floor.
Equipment you're going to use and the training is going to be different. You go to most manufacturing, would have a small set of people that could do maintenance tasks and
it's a certain set of people who are signing off on.
Where you go to the farm side, it could be
feedlot or any of those. It's that manager, and they are kind of having to be training of all things because they're having to sign all permits because they are the manager there. That does all.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's a couple of things that people don't think about.
Same thing goes really if you think about it for feed mills too. I mean,
absolutely.
Feed mill managers having to sign off on all this stuff. And it's and this kind of goes back to trends of 2024. We give them the support and the training to really be able to sign off on those documents.
Leaf blower. That is one that people don't think of.
Yeah.
That I kind of
agree. I'm not sure where you're headed on this.
A leaf blower, a lot of people have them. They have a motor and they wear them as backpacks as they go through the farms.
Yeah,
and that motor, guarding on it, but the guarding's not enough if you wear your hair like yours. If you don't watch it and you get pieces that are hanging down, it can get caught in the leaf blowers.
That sounds awful.
Because of where your body position is.
Yeah.
Those are things. So we'll have a job task and we'll say, go do this task. Well, they're not wearing a hard hat in a lot of those places. And they won't be like, well, you need to have your hair up at this moment.
Well, yeah. I mean, when I just got done washing my hair, it doesn't look like this, right?
Well, you did because you just took a shower coming to the farm.
Showered in, my hair is down,
that's
or
correct.
It's in a ponytail. I usually don't put it up.
So that's a risk you wouldn't have in a normal place. Normal place, we'd have hair nets, or we'd have hard hats, or we'd have certain job tasks like that.
Great point.
We don't wear ties in a lot of the plants for the same reason. So because you don't want to get caught in anything. I've
never seen anyone wear a tie in a plant.
They wear nice outfits like this. All right,
don't know where you've been working.
All right, so the next one is...
I think this is wishful thinking.
Yeah, it is.
You just want to bring that vibe back.
Another one about the farm safety is, are we going to train on what we're really going to do? Here's my best example. CPR first aid.
Yeah.
We train in the offices of it to be amazing and
Always.
clean and perfect.
Not usually even at the farm. We do it at the office.
Right. So
that could be 30 miles
the
away.
mill, the L&M area outside, land management area, you've got the farm itself, you got a feedlot. None of the conditions are what you were trained on.
No.
You're unloading animals in and out of trailers that's not first aid CPR. You got to have 17 or 25 or 50 animals around you and you go down. At my old plant, I had a person that had a medical event. We had cattle stored, cattle everywhere.
Yeah.
We used to have to medically treat that person with all the cows around. What are you going to do?
So now you're bringing in other people to help support moving the animals out of that area.
Correct.
So whether it's poultry, hogs,
so it's
cattle,
the training of that. How are we going to really do it?
To create space to treat the person.
Yeah, it's not animal movement as in people get caught in how we're going to move it. It's how we're going to manage that event for that person.
Scene stabilization is what it really is. And I have to move the animals to stabilize the scene.
That's correct. So the training part is what I want you to think about. I want you to think about we get caught up. We train, item one.
Yeah.
And item one is do all the like lockout. Maybe we say for lockout, we're going to check for residual energy. That's great. In a farm where you have an auger, you can have different energy sources even after locked out.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you've already checked it and there's no power, but there is power. The reason the auger is not working is to store power.
It's the stored energy factor.
Right. So we'll follow lockout and still have a weird injury like that.
Because we don't understand. And again, this goes back to some of the trends we saw in 2024.
That's correct.
Is that we haven't documented some of those things take place and that we have to release that stored energy because it's not electrical driven, it's other, and so we haven't captured some of those things. We haven't passed on some of that in our training documents, whatever it may be.
Driving outside equipment. We talked about that in another episode, but yes, you have a lot of outside work. You're by yourself. So you kind of have a lone protocol and you have an outside protocol a little bit, and then you're wearing different PPE. Now you have the weather conditions. You have a lot of factors that are going on that people working outside towards the end of the day that other people aren't being involved with. And a normal job at a normal plant, you wouldn't think about it.
Well, and I think in addition to that, you also typically aren't fortunate enough to maybe have all the same equipment at every location, same manufacturer, same.
You could have 7 different tractors easily,
and they're all a little different. So you have to now make sure your pre-checks
a little different.
Capture all of that. That's correct. Because each one has its different, and the training has to capture all of that.
That's
right?
correct. Another one is the routine tasks, but are they really? So, for example, I'm going to walk through today, and I'm going to wear gloves because I'm going to handle bait for animals like rats or mice or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pest control stuff.
So I go carrying this all the way out there, but I sweat sometimes. My nose itches, and I'm not always changing my gloves after I'm doing that task because I'm so far out there. I'm just trying to get it done.
Well, you could take that, the what's on your hands.
There you go.
And just multiply that across things like Lyme when we have to depopulate.
That's correct.
You could do it across, any of our AI stuff we are doing.
Or touching the animals themselves. Or you put your hand out to the right and you touch something, you don't realize it.
By the way, from the ag side, AI means something different than it does to everybody else.
But the point of it is that it's a routine task, but you don't think about how nobody would do that. Somebody else would change their gloves multiple times, like in a doctor's office. But on a farm, because of the travel distance you just don't think about it.
Well, in addition to that, you also need to evaluate how comfortable folks are. So we see some of the least amount of turnover in the farms because they're in smaller communities. That's the main employer for the location. And so they're just not having all kinds of, so people become very, very used to
even if they own their own farm at their house, they do the same thing.
The number of times I've seen people do something where they're touching something that's not really sanitary and then put their hand or their glove or like a pencil in their mouth. I'm thinking like, needle stuff, caps and stuff like that, pencils from writing different stuff down when we're doing different tasks on the farm. Then you want to go and you're like, well, why are they sick? I'm like, I can tell you why.
So another
about where you're putting your hands
another non-routine, but it is routine because people get the news, is whenever they have an outbreak. Yeah. And they have animals, and you'll see all over the news that somebody had to take the animals and do something with them or depopulate it. Well, that process change over history how we're going to do that and what we're going to PPE wise and how we stored and what's the chemicals
and how what the process is itself.
That's correct.
Which no one ever really wants to discuss that, but it changes. Is something that we have, and so we have to have that process, and then we've got vets involved, and then we've got to train people on it, and sometimes things don't always go to plan, so it doesn't.
So you got to have a plan for that.
So we've got to figure out what we're going to do in case we've got to do a plan B on some of this depopulation, and then again, what PPE are we having? Is it one person, two person? How many people are involved? Now we're moving from point A to point B and out of the facility and somewhere else, and how what that looks like.
A lot of steps, and then anything emergency related. For example, I've got a fire at the location. They're rural a lot of times. What are we going to do or not? We're going to take care of the animals that are still alive.
Yeah.
You're going to have a tornado. So, why don't you know there's these events that happen in a normal setting, but when you have this farm, whether it be a personal farm or a company farm, whatever it is, you still have to deal with a level of risk that's different in that environment.
Yeah. So, well, and I think part of it is managing things and situation during the emergency.
Correct.
And then what's the plan after if we have structural damage or some issues, and how are we going to navigate that?
Because we've been involved with a lot of those kind of events, and it will tell you it is interesting.
What are we doing with animals when we've got an immediate risk to them as well as ourselves?
That's correct.
Potentially.
And what are we not going to do?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Where's the line? And that's the thing that I don't see in any EAPs generally when I go and look at farm EAPs is that we don't have a great return to normal operations plan.
And then my very last one is the most interesting is housekeeping, because that word is so general. Yeah. Well, housekeeping for sanitation plant means something completely different. Some places like a mill, they don't want a lot of cobwebs. You may have the cobwebs at the farm, but you got to watch where the cobwebs are because they can still be around equipment. They can get hot or they can be around or other products.
Panel.
Housekeeping moves in and out. So you can have a program as a company and call that program, but you got to really tailor it to what you call it for that particular area, because there's certain things you can and can't do.
Well, and I think what housekeeping really we need to keep in mind is, again, we have biosecurity at play, and we're having to have people shower in, shower out, sanitize tools, sanitize anything that's coming in. Right. We've got to really be intentional about our inspections, that we're catching all that stuff, so that anytime we do have someone from maintenance come in or a contractor come in to do fixes, we're getting everything taken care of. I mean, like getting the blanks and the electrical.
That's correct.
Let's not have open electrical and no blanks missing and stuff. I mean, we've really got to be detailed in those inspections so that when people show up, we're ready to go. Here's your list. And
how many days that I think you got inspection.
Yeah.
You got some planning. Yep. And you got some.
Like how many days should they really be here? Maybe it's not just 2 hours on a Thursday afternoon.
That's correct. And then the other part I think you're talking about as part of the solutions is kind of another episode we talked about. You've got to have that procedure and training for that location's job task.
Yeah,
it's got to be that one.
It is not job task for farms, because farms all have different things going on. They're not all the same.
They're all set up differently and different. Like I said, even just the tractor itself. We've been to some great places that had 5 different training programs for different because they had to. We want that risk to be mitigated and brought down with the farms.
Yeah.
And the reason we bring this up to everybody is years ago we heard a lot about the animal movement was a lot of risk, but the people that are involved, there's other things that happen besides moving the animal. That's all we want you to do. We want you to think about these other things.
There was so much. It's kind of like the PPE and the plants. Like there was so much focus on the word animal movement.
Correct.
We've got real strong procedures at most facilities around training and how to do that in the animal welfare side.
Absolutely.
I think that is,
and that's
I've not
farms,
seen a lot of
plants, mills, field, everywhere we go.
Like that has been addressed quite well, I feel. And I'm not seeing a lot of gaps in that. It's all the support functions around doing that aren't that. Everything but that basically is where we now need to start evaluating and open up the scope of what's being evaluated during our inspections.
Absolutely.
And, some of these exterior outlying rooms, include those, things like that.
Absolutely. That's what we got today.
All right. Well, if you want more information on this, can hop on over to alan@safetycoaching.com. That's a great resource. Otherwise, we do lots of ag side stuff. So farms, feedlots, feed mills for poultry, hogs, cattle. So if you want us to do some in-person stuff, then give us a shout, and you can go to alan-safety.com for that, for all of our list of in-person services, whether it be audits, evaluations, training.
These are all of our opinions.
Yeah. Training, procedures. And then, as I mentioned, these are all our opinions. Take them for how you want. Make sure you're doing a thorough risk evaluation. It's not that everything applies to every location. So we're just trying to give you some quick food for thought over a bite-sized 10-minute episode here. There's inevitably going to be some things we missed.
Absolutely.
Feel free to drop them in the comments. We would love to hear from you. And otherwise, take care, everybody. Have a safe week.